Namaste and hello, Jai Chinendra to everyone. Thank you very much to the organizers of the SASA of 2023, especially to Professor Chris Chappell and graduate student Gayatri Segal, as well as other members of the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to express my views on the Jain scholar and philosopher and logician, teacher, Haribhadra Suri. This presentation will discuss various authors, scholars, writers by the name of Haribhadra Suri, revered in the Jain philosophical tradition. The biography of Haribhadra Suri, Yakini Putra, from the Prabandha biographical corpus will be presented, which identifies him as the son of Sadhvi Yakini. In Sanskrit, Yakini Sunu or Yakini Putra. Haribhadra is regarded as a teacher, author, scholar, and philosopher in the Jain tradition. Before I begin discussion on several scholars named Haribhadra Suri, I wish to point out what the Prabandha is in the Jain literary tradition. Prabandha is a biographical corpus of recent historical monks, poets, kings, householders, and Jain pilgrimage sites. The texts of this corpus were written from the 13th to 16th century. The term recent here is understood or conceptualized as those figures or places that are justifiable and identifiable after the period of Arya Rakshita, who flourished around the 2nd century before Common Era. The accounts of Haribhadra Suri can be found in the Jain biographical literature as said above that were retold in multiple Jain sources until the 14th century. Here is the list of these biographies of Haribhadra Suri. The commentary by Sarva Rajamuni to the Gana Dharardha Shataka, written by Jinadatta. Therein, the story of Haribhadra Suri can be found by the name Bhava Viraha Suri Kaha, the story of worldly existence, Bhava Viraha Suri. This account of Haribhadra Suri is found in the Kahavali series of the stories written by Bhadrashwara in the 12th century Common Era. Third account of the Haribhadra Suri is found in the text called Prabhavaka Charita, written by Prabha Chandra in 1278 Common Era. The life deeds of mighty figures in which Haribhadra Suri Charita and the fourth text is called the Prabandha Kosha, collection of life deeds by Rajshekhar Suri in 1348 Common Era, where the eighth life deed or the story biography is of Haribhadra Suri, entitled Sri Haribhadra Suri Prabandha. So what is in this Prabandha story? So altogether we have 4 accounts of Haribhadra Suri. So here I'm going to summarize the story of Haribhadra Suri from the Prabandha text. The Prabandha of Haribhadra Suri begins by introducing Haribhadra as a young Brahmin who lived in the town of Chitrakuta in western India. It is told that he had a vast knowledge of 14 subjects of learning, that he was very fond of defeating others in philosophical debates, so much so that he pledged to become the disciple of his opponent if he ever encountered something that he could not understand. So he used to say in this biography at least, यत् पठितम् अहं न जानामि तस्य शिष्यो भवामीति प्रतिज्ञा. One day he met a nun who was reciting some verses in Prakrit, which he could not understand. He then converted to Jainism, became a Jain monk, learned Prakrit and Jain canonical text, and received the Jain title Suri, thereby making him a leader of the Jain monastic community. Later in life, his nephew, Hamsa and Paramhamsa, became his close students. After completing their studies under Haribhadra's tutelage, Hamsa and Paramhamsa wanted to learn Buddhist logic in order to be able to defeat the Buddhists in the debate, and therefore went to a Buddhist monastery in disguise. When their betrayal was discovered by the Buddhist teacher, they fled from the monastery and were later killed by soldiers. Upon hearing this, Haribhadra became furious and killed 1,440 Buddhists by using magic. Regretting this violent reaction, Haribhadra composed 1,440 Jain texts as an atonement. The Prabandha then jumps in time and place to tell the story of another student of Haribhadra, namely the story of Siddharshigani. A backstory is first told of how Siddharshi Gani was a young prince by the name Siddha, who had a gambling problem. Having been helped by a merchant from the town of Sri Malapura, Siddharshi later, at that time he wasn't Siddharshi, sorry. Siddha later met Haribhadra and became his student and a Jain monk later on. As Hamsa and Parhamsa before him, after he completed his Jain studies under Haribhadra, Siddha was inspired to go and learn Buddhist logic. Although Haribhadra rejected this proposal, Siddha insisted on learning Buddhism. Haribhadra warned him that he would become mentally affected by going to study with the Buddhist, and if he were to decide to become a Buddhist, then he should at that time return the Haribhadra in order to give back his Jain monk robes. When Siddha subsequently decided to convert to Buddhism, he did as he had been told, but Haribhadra did not accept the return of his Jain robes and instead defeated him in a debate. Siddha tried to return the robes 21 times, but each time he was defeated and unsuccessful. Haribhadra finally realized that the debate was futile and that he had had enough of debate. Instead, Haribhadra wrote a text which he left on his seat for Siddha. When Siddha arrived the 22nd time to return his robes, he found the text which Haribhadra wrote, read it, and became so convinced of Haribhadra's teaching that he decided to remain a Jain monk. He subsequently became known as Siddharshikani and composed a famous text. That text is called Upamiti Bhava Prapancha Katha. The story ends by telling that the Prabandha story ends by telling that Haribhadra later went to heaven by fasting to death. Here, in this case, he received samadhi. After reading this biography of Haribhadra, it seems that Prabandha authors never estimated that there was more than one scholar named Haribhadra Suri in the Jain tradition. Muni Jina Vijaya in 1993, Paul Dundas in 2003, Christopher Chappell in 2016 claimed at least there were more than two authors named Haribhadra Suri. Furthermore, Pravesh Bhardwaj, in his doctoral dissertation, which published in 1995, based on Belani, Fateh Chand Belani, claims that Haribhadra is found as Harila, Harigupta, and Haribhadra in Jain Prabandha and Pattavalis. There are six Haribhadras, or there are six scholars named Haribhadra Suri found. In the concluding verses of Yoga Bindu, verse number 526 and 527, the author of the text is mentions Acharya Haribhadra as the author. Swalpam Atyanukampaya Yoga Shastra Maharnavat Acharya Haribhadrena Yoga Bandhuhu Samadhritam, with a view to doing favor to the dull-witted person. Acharya Haribhadra has picked up this drop of yoga from the great ocean of the text. In verse number 527, he says, Samudritar chitam punyam yat enam shubha yogataha bhavandhya virahat tena janah stad yoga lochana. And whatever merit might have been earned, characterized by an auspicious manner of doing things, may that enable the mass of people to be rid of the blindness of the form of worldly existence, viraha, and hence yoga-ite. These two verses refer to the author of the text, Acharya Haribhadra. The language of the Sanskrit text pointed out that the concluded verses, the last verse, 527, uses the term worldly existence, viraha, which has already been pointed out by Chappell 2016 in his research article on the Jain Yoga of Haribhadra Virahanka's Yoga Bindu, that the Sanskrit word Virahanka was a hallmark of Acharya Haribhadra, who flourished around the 6th century Common Era. And in the 8th century, Acharya Haribhadra Suri, here I call him second, who was the son of Sadhvi Yakini, Yakini Sunu, or Yakini Putra, as the Prabandha literature also claims. However, Chappell 2016 based his research on philosophical notions of Tantra that has main topic in the text, and later texts by Haribhadra are not quite there yet. In his research article, Haribhadra's Lalita Vistara and the legend of Siddharshi's conversion to Buddhism, Paul Dundas 2003, using the introduction to Haribhadra Suri's Dharma Bindu Prakarana, written by Jina Vijaya, 1993, from page number 1 to 24, has argued that Haribhadra Suri wrote Chaitya Vandana in the 8th century Common Era. In the aftermath of many inscriptions and evaluating the several Haribhadra Suri's works, Acharya Bhagwat Yakini Mahatara Dharma Sunu Shri Haribhadra Suri Virachit Dharma Bindu Prakarana, that's the text name that Jina Vijaya is giving introduction to Haribhadra Suri. Jina Vijaya in this introduction claims that Haribhadra Suri flourished around Vikram Samvat 785, which can be calculated in Common Era as 728. The above mentioned biographical Prabandha text, on the other hand, claims that Siddharshigani, who wrote the text Lalita Vistara in Vikram Samvat 962, it would be Common Era 905. Common Era was a direct student of Haribhadra Suri, which seems chronologically incorrect. And Paul Dundas and others also have pointed out this. In in his monograph, Jain Grantha or Granthkar Fateh Chand Balani provides at least 6 Haribhadra, and here we have a name and some of works by, and chronologically at least. In his provides Fateh Chand Belani a chronological list of 6 Jain Haribhadra, 6 scholars named Haribhadra Suri. The first Haribhadra Suri, 8th century, who wrote several commentaries on Jain canonical text, including the Anuyoga Dwaravritti, Nandi Laghuvritti, Prajna Pana Sutra, Vyakhya, Avishaka Sutra, Laghu Tika. So these are mostly commentarial work on a Jain canonical text. Avishaka, Brihatika, Ogha Niryukti, and many more. That text actually gives more text, so I just pointed out some of famous one. Furthermore, Belani lists 2 more Haribhadras of the 12th century, named Haribhadra Suri. The first Haribhadra Suri is the author of Tattva Prabodha and was a Pattadhara, I think here, direct student of Ananda Suri. The second Haribhadra Suri was a student of Jinadeva Upadhyaya, and we don't know the date of Jinadeva Upadhyaya, but I'm just assuming maybe somewhere around 12th century. This Haribhadra Suri is the author of several commentarial works, including the Bandha Swamitva Shadashiti. This is a Karma Grantha Vritti, so it's a Vritti type of commentary written in 1115 Common Era in Vikram Samvat 1172. Muni Pati Charitra, that's the story type of text. Shreyam Sracharita Prashma Rati Vrati, written in Vikram Samvat 1185 and 1128 Common Era, and Kshetra Masavritti. So these are the texts written by the third or second, according to Belani, Haribhadra. So Belani on the same work, in his work, Haribhadra Suri, who belonged to Vadagacha and wrote the Chaubisati Thankara Charitra, written in around 1159 Common Era, Vikram Samvat 1216. In the 13th century, so here we have 12th century Haribhadras, and now we have 13th century Haribhadra. Haribhadra, who flourished around 13th century. Belani lists the 5th Haribhadra Suri, wrote Munipati Charitra in Vikram Samvat 1276, and it would be in Common Era 1219 Common Era. Now, finally, Belani furthermore lists the 6th Haribhadra Suri, whose exact period is unknown, but Belani on his text claims his name Nahacharya, and that was written around 13th century. That's all he says. So in conclusion, there were 2 scholars named Haribhadra Suri in the first millennium. The first Haribhadra Suri was Virahanka, who wrote Jain Tantra work Yoga Bindu in the 6th century, as claimed by Chapel 2016. The second Haribhadra Suri is the Jain philosopher logician, a storyteller and teacher of Hamsa and Parahamsa, whose biographies are found in Prabandha text. The later Haribhadra Suri, son of Sadhvi Yakini Sunu or Yakini Putra, wrote Jain philosophical works such as Yoga Drishti Samuchaya, Anekant Jayapataka, and so on. There are many texts in this period he wrote. In the second millennia, there were multiple Jain scholars named Haribhadra Suri up until 13th century, claimed by Belani. Our focus in this panel is to discuss the first two Jain scholars named Haribhadra Suri, as said, Virahanka Yakinisunu and Yakinisunu. Interesting enough, Jina Vijaya and Paldundas, Pravesh Bhardwaj, Fateh Chand Belani do not attest any Haribhadra Suri who wrote any text in the 6th century. So it is a little bit contradictory here with Christopher Chappell's research. So we have to reconsider Haribhadra and his time period, whoever. I'm just beginning on Haribhadra's time period from different point of view. So I'm new here, but slowly we can get there in few years' time. And thank you so much. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer. Maybe now, maybe later. However, yeah.